I
Yes.
think maybe just in closing, is there anything particular that you'd like to share with this audience in closing?
Yeah, I think I think with going forward, I think one of the biggest differentiating elements, I think for anyone wanting to progress in in the STEM space, in their own sort of corporate careers and trajectory, it really is about 100% accountability. And what I mean by that is, it can be very easy to to look for the organization, for example, to support you, and the organization can do more for me. And I think it's around taking 100% accountability for your own personal journey. Use life as an echo chamber. Use the corporate environment as an echo chamber. Use the people around you as an echo chamber. And what I mean by this, I mean by this is like really being able to look at the space as a mirror to yourself. And whatever's coming back to you in the echo chamber, whether this can be positive or, let's say, slightly negative, it really doesn't matter. It's to look at this and say, I'm 100% accountable for my own development. I'm 100% accountable for my own responses to life. I'm 100% accountable for becoming visible, owning my narrative, owning my life, and driving the outcomes that I desire. And so what are the areas and the spaces then that I need to grow into, evolve into, educate myself and get information about, invest in, get mentors around, get experience around, and sort of part of the journey is other people aren't going to do it for you. The responsibility is for you to become the new version of yourself. And I started out by saying, create opportunities to meet the new you. And so what does this mean? And it talks a little bit about to what you're referring to, Lou, is like you had a mentor who pushed you into the deep end. And my experience, for example, in taking myself into these uncomfortable places, let me use Comrades as an example. That's a 90-kilometer run where I didn't know, even though I trained for it, right at the inception point of sort of signing up and having my entry submitted, immediately I faced myself. Immediately I faced my limitations. Am I going to be able to run this race? Am I going to be able to train up? What does this mean for you? I don't think I can do it. So immediately I could see my shortcomings. So the moment you engage in these courageous, audacious goals of extending yourself outside of your comfort zone, you become accountable for closing the gap in terms of your limitations. And in the process of running Comrades, I described it as I met the new me. The only place you can meet the new you is in these beyond the status quo, outside of your comfort zone spaces. And even up until on the day, I stood at the starting line and I did it 4 times. And again, it's a little bit similar to my career changes, right? I stood at the starting line of and even though I'd done it once and I did it 4 times, every single time I stood on the starting line, I was thinking to myself, can I do this? I don't know if I can finish. I've done the training. Like everything now is just about on the day. And interesting enough, in Comrades, you've trained up to a 60-kilometer mark. So you've got that under your belt and you've done the training for it. So you can do 60 kilometers mentally, emotionally, physically, sort of spiritually. And then beyond the 60 kilometers, you've got no idea. You haven't been in that territory before. And I would always hit certain spaces. My first Comrades was 65 kilometers. My second Comrades was maybe at 70 kilometers, and you've got another 20 to go. And that is the place that I met the new me. In other words, this is the place where now you are out of your comfort zone. Now you are in that place where you find the resources, where you cultivate the resources in the moment, where you master resources in the moment. You master yourself in the moment, in real time, step by step, for the next 2 or 3 hours while you're on the road. You meet the new you. In other words, you meet the new emotional you. You meet the new physical and mental and spiritual you in those moments where you are outside of your comfort zone. And so with this being said, and then once you cross the finish line, you get to embody that process. So I think leaving the message going forward is is really around, it's one thing to be, I don't want to say in a comfort zone to be extended, right? But to master yourself, you need to go into those uncomfortable places. Change is good. Embrace it. Embrace the opportunities of your echo chamber and what is it offering you in order to either build on as strengths or either to grow and extend into in terms of meeting the new you, because it's time. It's time that you cultivated new resources. It's time that you grew into, new emotional capacities or opened your heart more, whatever that is for you. But the important thing is then to embody those things and anchor them into a way of being. And so Comrades, for example, is a place where I became a new version of myself. So in meeting the new you, you become a new version of yourself. You have to become it first. You have to be it first. And then life will start to respond and echo back to you in different ways. So be encouraged, be inspired by change. Don't be afraid of it. It's invigorating for the soul. Your soul wants to expand. Your soul wants to experience new versions of yourself. And so life is going to give you plenty of opportunities to do that. It's going to be plenty of opportunities to continue to extend into the truth of who you are, what you are, and effectively who and what you are able and capable of becoming. And in that process, what you discover is every single time you step through one of these portals of change, these portals of opportunities, these portals of having to become visible, for example, or having to have a difficult conversation, every time you step into one of those portals, that is where you get to embody, embrace the next iteration of your own powerful being, your own powerful self, and bring that forward. And if you can do that for yourself, what effectively you are then able to do is you're really able to hold that space for others. You're really able to help those that you're going to journey with, those that you are either going to coach, mentor, lead. You will be able to hold that space for them, and they will know with certainty that you are capable of walking with them as they cross the river of change, for example, as they go through their next difficult iteration. So fundamentally, you end up leaving footprints for others to follow in and support them in a way better way. And so I think just embracing that journey and embracing the uncomfortable, embracing the uncertainty and becoming certain in those spaces. I think, and just one final thing, a couple of final things I'll just say on that is the only way to embrace sort of the uncertain is to cultivate a really, really deep level of conviction, of belief in yourself, a really, really deep level of trust in yourself, and a really deep level of certainty in yourself. And where you build foundations of that is in these unknown, uncharted territories. Because if you stay in your comfort zone, you stay where you are, if you look for other people to do it for you, if you look for other people to take your hand and do it for you, you don't develop those thresholds for yourself of certainty, of belief, and of truly trusting in yourself on whole new levels of groundedness. And so when I talk around anchoring things in and crossing the Comrades finish line, once I'd done that, I could ground those things into myself and I could use them as leverage points going forward, of which I could then springboard into the next, let's say, iteration of self or next challenge for myself. So be excited by continuously innovating yourself and continuously discovering new versions of yourself. Be excited about it. It's not something to be feared. Yes, along the way, you're going to have to overcome fear, but embrace it, enjoy it, and in that, you will bring the fullness of who you are into the world more and more and more. And I think that's the exciting thing for everybody, is to see who am I actually and what am I capable, and what light can I actually bring into the world and leave as legacies for others to follow.
That's a very, very beautiful message. Thank you, Sjeanne. I think embrace challenge with a positive mindset and you're sorted for good growth.